The Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to an episode of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts and one of your commissioners. My name is Frankie. Sitting right next to me is Cam. Cam, how's it going?
You know.
I don't know. Please tell me.
Well, I guess I'll just get into what happened to me Monday night.
Uh-huh.
Because why not? It was Monday night. I was up by 4 points.
Uh-huh.
After Carson Wentz, is just the worst human being in existence.
Okay.
Ginger. And playing against Jamison Crowder on Levi's team.
Yeah.
And in, the first quarter, Jamison Crowder gets 2 catches, total of, 2 points. So Levi needs, more like 2.5. Levi needs, a catch and 8 yards to beat me. And the second quarter goes by. Third quarter goes by. Jets do nothing. Jamison Crowder can't catch a ball. Fourth quarter comes along. And now the Jets are kind of in garbage time mode. Patriots playing a little softer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pass down the middle to Jamison Crowder. And he kind of just falls on the ball. And I'm like, all right, I lost. But wait, Bill Belichick challenges it.
Uh-huh.
And now you get a little bit of hope again. And the challenge doesn't work. And then I lost all over again.
You got played by the evil empire.
Yeah.
And by the Jets at the same time.
I was seeing ghosts, dude.
You were seeing ghosts. Yeah, I can. That's a rough one. There's been a couple really rough, tough losses so far this season. 2 of them to Logan. I'd say, that time I was second in points scored to Justin. That was a rough, but not quite as bad as Logan's losses or this loss. That was a pretty rough loss.
I mean, it's rough when if you didn't play defense, you would have won.
I was gonna bring that up, but Cameron. This is I made it I feel like I've been joking about this for a month and a half now, but it's not a joke anymore. It's not funny. I'm concerned.
They were the 6th ranked defense on Fantasy Pros. I was like, sure, why not?
I'm concerned, Cameron.
I am too.
Alrighty, let's get into the waivers for this week. I'll actually do a rundown first. Let's talk about the waivers. Winners and losers. We have a power rankings this week. There are some differences in our power rankings this week as opposed to a month ago. So we will see about that. We'll do a preview, and then if one of you emails us during the show that's currently being recorded, we'll have a mailbag question. But
Dylan said he would send something.
Did he? All right. We'll check on that later. We'll get their producer on that. But until then, let's start off here with the waivers. 2 big ticket items this week. Ty Johnson to Devin for $77, and then Stills to you, Cameron, for $29. I guess another notable ones were Eric Ebron for 10 and J.D. McKissick for 10 as well. J.D. McKissick going along with Ty Johnson. But a little bit of an overbid here for Devin, $77. The next highest bid was Dylan at $50. But necessity. It's I'm not gonna kill him for that. Slight overbid for you, 14. About doubled up the second highest bid for you. For Kenny Stills. But yeah, how are you feeling about the Kenny Stills acquisition and about Devin's moves?
Kenny Stills, I changed that bid 7 a.m. Wednesday morning just because I was like, he's going to be the wide receiver too for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
This could be good. So I put it up. But I have many regrets about doing that, which I feel like we should get to later.
Yeah.
But then for Devin, I feel like it makes sense. He lost Carry-On and he's shooting a shot with Ty. I'm still not convinced that they won't bring someone else in or that won't be a very split backfield with him and JD.
Right.
But, shooting a shot, something you got to do when you lose.
Yeah, when we got the news on the IR, placement for Carry-On, I, frame one, gave Devin a trade for some of my running backs. Immediately shot down. He said, nah. And then took a shot on Ty Johnson here in a retaliation.
He's got the meal ticket, Devin Singletary.
He changed his name to no longer meal ticket. I'm pretty sure.
Meal ticket voided.
Yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's about it for the waivers. Nothing else too crazy going on this morning either. It's pretty tame. Everyone just getting their defenses and their beautiful tight ends, like Vance McDonald. But let's
one last thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Levi dropped the Vikings defense this morning, Thursday morning.
He did.
And that was a very rude move because now no one can pick them up in time to play them tonight.
I didn't even think about that. That is, yeah. Who's giving him a frowny face?
Me and Dylan.
You and Dylan both giving him frowny faces.
Yeah, because we know what's up.
Yeah, big. I mean, that's an evil empire move right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into the winners and losers of last week. Cam, you get the winners this week, and we'll start off here with your matchup, you versus Levi.
Yeah, so Levi, if we kind of look at how his team did, he was pretty much carried by the core of his team. You know, Deshaun Watson didn't do great, but then Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Michael Thomas kind of combined for most of his points.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just kind of there. The only other double digits were Deshaun Watson and Golden Tate, who ended up with 11 points. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a down week for Levi. Missing Chris Godwin, like I said, when I thought that I was going to win because of that.
Yep.
So, you know, that'll definitely help him. But, I don't know. It's like, there's not a lot going on with Levi's team outside of the main people. Frank Gore and Jamison Crowder are starters this week, which, you know, not great. One thing I noticed that was kind of interesting, Austin Eckler and Derrick Henry are kind of like yin and yang, because Derrick Henry got 22 carries and only 1 reception, whereas Austin Eckler got 5 carries and then 8 targets for 7 receptions, and all of his yards from there, whereas Derrick Henry got all of his yards from rushing.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. My only quick note on Levi is the fact that Levi's now had 3 very beatable weeks, including the last 2 weeks, and still remains undefeated. That's we see that reflected in the misery euphoria index as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the rich get richer already. And then I have you here. Carson Wentz is a bum. I feel like I've been saying it for a long time on fantasy wise, but come on, less than 5 points. What are you doing here? Rams passing game is almost at a near perfect split this week, which is not great for you. I brought up the stats here. 7 targets for Woods and Cooks, 1 more target for Cooper Kupp, but yardage and actual receptions pretty even across the board here. Gerald Everett getting 10 targets. This one makes me want to throw up.
Retweet.
But yeah, it's just not quite the hyper-targeting you've been used to so far this season with Cooper Kupp. That's been a bit of a trend recently, last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But on the bright side for your team, Elmet shined in a week where we don't have Kamara. It's good to see there. And then Elmet has Arizona this week, so it should be another good week. And then I guess I have a question here is, did Marvin Jones do enough to earn a starting spot on your roster? I guess that was my thought process through the week. I wonder if he is now someone you just feel compelled to play after his 4 touchdown performance. And I do believe you have him in your starting roster right now, if we were to check your team. Yeah, there he is. So I guess I answered my question for me.
Well, to put this in context, I'm a rankings beta. I'm a slave to them.
Retweet.
Because if I do what other people tell me to do, I don't feel as bad about my own decisions.
Uh-huh.
And he is currently my 3rd highest ranked wide receiver at wide receiver 22, I think, around there. Pretty crazy. Like, not on the season, but, like, ranked for this week by experts.
Uh-huh.
Which is wild. And if he didn't go off this week, he would probably be off my roster right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of annoying because I really need to drop someone because I don't have a defense and my roster is full. And I have no one that I'm willing to drop.
Yeah, I don't know who I don't know.
That's why I was annoyed by picking up Kenny Stills.
I'll leave that to you. Figure that out later.
Someone trade me.
Let's move on to the next matchup. Justin versus Tyler.
Yeah, so Justin pulls off the win here. However, in football, there's, you can win in all phases of the game. This was not that for Justin. His wide receivers, tight end, and running backs, and his single flex, not including his kicker flex, combined for 37 points. So that's 6 spots on his roster, averaging a little over 5 points per spot.
Yeah.
And then his kickers, defense, and quarterback really carried him through there. I made a note. All of his wide receivers, tight end, and flex basically amounted to 1 Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Who he was down this week, so I mean he's got to be glad to get the win not having Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, his running backs are not good unless they score touchdowns. Mark Ingram and Damian Williams,
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey excluded, and his wide receivers are kind of like that too. Cole Beasley with 3 catches for 16 yards, but got a touchdown to salvage it. I mean, Austin Hooper's good. his kicker flex is working out, at least for now, and his defense did good, but yeesh,
Yeah.
not sustainable IMO.
Speaking of kicker flex, I wanted to highlight here because Tyler went the kicker flex route as well this week. You compare the to Justin's outshining by 11 points, 26-15. Not a complete killer, but not great for Tyler's side here. Also on Tyler's side, he would have won this week if he had started Matt Stafford, which is highly unfortunate. And I think that means he is the recipient of the Ben McAdoo Award this week.
Tyler, we hate to see it.
I'm not asking, and I haven't heard a thing. So I'm going to keep my head down and keep doing my job until I hear otherwise.
You hate to see that, but oh my god, Jimmy G is so bad for fantasy and not that great at real football either.
I mean, like, it was just an awful conditions game.
That is true.
But I did see that the weather was really bad, and that's what made me bench Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
So I feel like Tyler could have done the same thing with Garoppolo.
Yeah. Montgomery continues his complete bust of a season. I think it's pretty fair to call that at this point. So, yeah, not a whole lot there to talk about. The only thing for Tyler's side is that there just isn't a whole lot of upside on this team. I mean, yes, you have, like, Julio and T.Y., but just, like, there isn't a whole lot of upside on this team with Chubb on bye. There just isn't any kind of, like, boom I'm really seeing, considering these players who, like, have the potential to boom, like, they just haven't been doing it so far this season. And just, yeah, I don't know, not a whole lot to love over here.
Yeah, and the next matchup, we had Lassie defeating Greg in just a nail biter. And Lassie, my notes on him, Kyler didn't do much this week because he was carried by his running backs, as you know all too well. However, just like that, Lassie was also carried by his running backs with Aaron Jones, doing solid. Not a lot of work because they're kind of splitting around now that Jamal Williams is back, but, scored a touchdown, which is what you want to see. Kind of the same thing with Saquon, but he got a little more work, and he's getting back and healthy, so that's good for Lassie. He's got Melvin Gordon, and Melvin Gordon scored a touchdown this week, Frankie.
Yes.
That's good. But he also did not score over 6 points on the week.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, if you ask me. And then his wide receiver core just really doesn't have a lot going on when Mike Evans is out. Like, Julian Edelman is solid, but he's never going to, boom for you. And then starting Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders has been up and down, but nothing you really want to rely on each week.
Until the trade, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So let's go over to Greg's side of the ball quickly. Matt Ryan gets injured, scores less than a point this week, but he got injured like later in the game. He sucked before anyways. You can't even use that as an excuse, really. You mentioned that like Melvin Gordon scored a touchdown but had less than 6 months. I wanted to point out that Joe Mixon scored a touchdown and had 6.9 points.
That's it.
Mixon is I'll talk about him more later. The lone bright spot on the entire team is the emergence of Stephon Diggs. And Greg is a one-win team at this point, and I'm just like, if I'm in Greg's spot here, I feel like your only play is to try and sell high on Diggs to try to get 2 assets back. I feel like that's exactly what I would be doing if I was Greg at this point, but at least with the trade offers I've given him, he's been completely, shutting me down. Like, I sent him a trade offer the other day, and I text him, like, hey, when you get a chance, check out my trade offer if you want to negotiate. 4 hours later, I get a sleeper alert. Greg has rejected your trade, and it's been like 3 days and hasn't even responded to the text. No conversation, nothing. And it's like, are we trying to win here? Or I don't get what's going on. Help me, help you, help me. It's like, anyways. And also my last note for Greg is, please, for the love of God, stop starting Jason Witten. Like, I get that he is like gives you this like very like safe like 4 or 5 point floor, but Greg, you are a one-win team. Like, this, please take a dart and throw it at the board, please. That's all I'm asking for.
This is not a standing Greg podcast.
No, I just want better for him. That's the problem. Next matchup here: Logan versus Devin.
Wait, it's like Greg with his license. We just want him to be able to drive.
Yeah, I just want Greg to have autonomy over his own transportation and his fantasy team. That's all I really want.
Someday, but today is not that day.
Yeah. All right, let's go here to Logan versus Devin.
And Logan takes down Devin. And something interesting I kind of noticed this week: 4 of the wins the winning team scored between 100 and 110 points.
I noted that as well.
Really a down week for everyone.
Yeah.
But Logan was one of those winning teams. That's good for him. And what's kind of interesting is he didn't really have any like weak spots on his team, but he also didn't have any blow up games. Like Le'Veon Bell, you want to score more than 8 points weekly, but that's against the Patriots, so you kind of accept it.
Yeah.
Uh,
in a 0-33 loss, that's not so terrible to have 8 points.
I mean, Allen Robinson did have a really good week, but like it still wasn't the kind of boom that you'd hope for with a boom play. Only 19.7. And then DJ Chark has kind of been like the opposite of Allen Robinson, whereas Allen Robinson has been on the upswing. DJ Chark has been coming down from his mega hot start of the season.
Yeah.
He's still going to be good for the season, but just not nearly the wide receiver 4 or whatever he was to start the season.
Right.
Whereas Le'Veon Bell was, good for the start of the season. Robbie Anderson was not quite, but again, you can kind of accept that with the Patriots defense, and Will Fuller didn't do great for him, but also got the injury.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, everyone that underperformed, you can kind of explain it away for Logan. And then everyone else, did solid, if unspectacular. And that was enough to get him the win.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to mention real quickly before I go over. We talked about like if it's being a down week. So on Sleeper now, they're showing you the weekly projections from what your projections were prior to the games actually happening. They added in the new update. Every single team in our league went under on the projections, besides for me, Dylan, and Jake. So,
Nice.
And I only went over by a point. Dylan went over by like 35. Jake went over by about 23 there. But every single other person went under. So that gives you the week there. I think also if we average the scoring out, the average score this week was 104.47 points, which is the lowest before us was like 111. So this is by far the lowest scoring week. And we have the lowest week of the season, which is Gray's week this week as well. Anyways. So yeah, over here to Devin's side, Singletary's bad. I don't know if he's a bad player, but he's bad for fantasy, and yeah, he's played in 3 games and been bad. So thank you for not trading him to me, I guess. Gurley gets a receiving touchdown, which kind of bails out his day a little bit here, but nothing great either from him. Russell Wilson throws his first pick of the season, and he had under 50% completion rating this week, so it's kind of a come-to-earth game for him there, although it didn't, 14 points for a quarterback isn't necessarily going to kill your week all the time. And then my only other question here on Devin's side is are we seeing a reemergence of Marvin Jones, or is this a one-time thing? Because is this a downgrade here going forward for Kenny G, an upgrade overall to the offense because there's more to be thrown around? I just think it's going to be interesting to see how this Marvin Jones 4 touchdown game could affect Kenny G in the coming weeks.
Well, this isn't the first time this has happened. Earlier in the season when they played Philadelphia, it was a good game for Marvin Jones. Now it's Kenny Galladay's worst game of the season before this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of something that's interesting how they can't both have a good game at the same time, at least not so far.
Yeah.
But Kenny Galladay gets more good games on average, so I think it should be fun.
Yeah, I agree. All right, here, let's move on to my matchup, Dylan versus myself.
Sorry, Frankie. But
What are you going to do? What can you do?
Dylan scoring 150 points.
Yeah.
When previously, he scored, where is it? Dylan scored 129 the week before that, 111 the week before that, and then never above 100 in the 4 weeks before that.
Right.
So he's on the upswing, but I don't think it's going to last very long, Dylan. Because how many times Aaron Rodgers is going to score 40 points? Not a lot.
Not many.
And then, Carlos Hyde and Tevin Coleman combining for about 10 points. Tevin Coleman did have the Mud Bowl game, but Matt Breida did also get injured and have to leave that game for a little bit.
Yeah.
So he got 20 carries and still did, nothing with it. DeAndre Hopkins was good. Maybe that was because Kenny Stills got hurt. We don't really know. But is he back? I guess we'll find out. Waller, after not scoring any touchdowns, has finally progressed as Frankie shakes his head in sadness.
Dude, do you know how frustrating it is to see both Philip Lindsay's... anyway, sorry. Just continue.
Yeah, trust me, I know how frustrating this is starting the Green Bay defense when I was like, they have literally no healthy wide receivers. They're not going to be able to do anything on offense.
Uh-huh.
Darren Waller was like, I got this, fam. And, put the team on his back, both Dylan and the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Gallup didn't really have to do a lot for the Dallas this week because they were up to super early. Allen Lazard, played the most snaps, I think, for the Packers, but still only got 4 targets.
Yeah.
So that's not great. And then got 27 points from his kicker and defense. So, Dylan, enjoy it while it lasts, because I think it's going to come crashing down hard.
And over to my side here, Denver Broncos offense looked like a high school football team. Like, they looked terrible against the Chiefs in prime time. They looked absolutely abysmal, which is great because I own Philip Lindsay. And I'll talk about that other running back in a minute in that backfield. Other notes on my team. Devontae punched a man. But not just any man. He punched, like, the man of the NFL, Aaron Donald. That's just, it's like all my players get demasculated recently. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Donald like holds up Devontae Adams or
Freeman.
Devontae Adams in Tennessee. He holds up Devontae Freeman like a child, and then like last week against the Saints, like everyone's going to Tariq Cohen like, oh look how short you are. Like bro, what's happening to my players? It's so rude. Everyone's being so mean to my players. I don't get it. Anyways, I would say the only note on my team this week is that I'm probably the only person in the entire fantasy football cognoscente who started Chase Edmonds and still ended up losing. So that feels great. But yeah, let's get into the last.
Wait, are you gonna call Mark Andrews and tell him not to eat popcorn before the games anymore?
Oh my, Cameron! Do you have any idea how frustrating it is to because all the time I'm doing homework during Sunday, I'm just like have Red Zone on in the background or whatever. I just hear like the Red Zone calls and just like, incomplete to Mark Andrews. Well, like see it get a alert like incomplete to Mark Andrews, incomplete to Mark Andrews, incomplete to Mark Andrews. It's so frustrating.
2 catches on 8 targets.
And like 3 of his targets were like in the end zone. Like come on. Oh, all right. Now to the Jake Ball.
Jake off.
Jake off. That's right.
So the winning Jake, Mr. Logan, had a very good week for himself. Streaming Josh Allen worked well for him. His 3 running backs combined for 70 carries.
Yeah.
That's a lot of volume. Jesus. Volume is what you want. However, Sony Michel, not very efficient with it. Scores 3 touchdowns, but also averages a little over 2 yards per carry and has a catch for -8 yards. He got 18 points from touchdowns and 3.9 points from everything else.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes for him.
Must be nice to be a Patriot.
He's got Ghost helping him out and everything. And then, there's not a lot else going for Jake's team. Amari Cooper, 5 targets, 106 yards, 5 catches is good, and they didn't really need to use him, which helped Zeke out. So that helped out Jake's team. There's really nothing bad going on with him besides Darren Fells, Auden Tate, doing fine. Patriots defense is still really good. Yeah, good for Jake.
The biggest thing here with Jake is the re-emergence of Corey Davis. Now he might feel compelled to start him, which I feel like he's one of those players where if you start him, he's going to give you a bad week, and if he's on your bench, he could give you a good week with his new quarterback. But
no, man, Tannehill is so good.
Yeah, he's really good that he got cut by his team.
The Dolphins.
Yeah, by the Dolphins. The Dolphins didn't want him. On JP's side of the ball here, the injury to Mahomes and Thursday night kind of stunts the week a little bit. But it did give him an opportunity to sign whatever quarterback he wanted to this week and his replacement. I guess he's just going to go with Tom Brady instead, which is fine, I guess. And if the injury to Mahomes wasn't enough to stunt your week, David Johnson just killed it with 1 carry. That's rough. And then I talk about other disappointments. Evan Ingram was maybe the biggest disappointment in all of fantasy this week, as the tight end going against the Arizona Cardinals, going from 1.1 points. That's just really unfortunate. And then I'm down week for Larry as well. It was a weird offensive game for both teams. And I just want to talk really quickly about this other running back on his team, Royce Positive Regression Freeman. I'm so tired of talking about him. This 3.5 yard per carry, gets a touchdown, and he running back who just is like okay at running the football, but why is he getting 5 targets? Like, why is he getting so many targets in the air when you have such a dynamic runner in Philip Lindsay? I don't understand it, and I never will. And this is why Denver keeps losing games. That's all I'm saying.
Oregon, great. Royce Freeman, Frankie. They know what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah, they can keep losing games while they know what they're doing. But yeah, I guess that's it for the review this week, eh?
Yeah.
And let's get into the power rankings here. Power rankings.
Okay. So in the S top tier, no particular order, but kind of particular order because I wrote them this way. You have Levi, then me, then Jake Logan. I feel like Levi's, kind of self-explanatory, just 7-0, really good team. Scored the most points for this season. Jake, second. Ooh, we have my actual power.
I do have your power rankings up, yeah.
Jake also has scored the second most points so far this season. He's got the Patriots defense and some really good running backs and Amari Cooper, so that's pretty good. And then me scored not a lot of points this season. But
Not a lot at all.
But I blame that
Very few, in
on
fact.
defense and special
Oh,
teams.
yeah, okay.
And, because I have 2 running back ones, Frankie. 2 wide receiver ones.
Mm-hmm.
2 wide receiver 2s. And 2 wide receiver 3s.
Well, have you considered scoring points with them?
And a tight end. Top 3 tight end. They score me points. Just everyone else doesn't. I got Drew Brees now, dude.
Uh-huh.
No more bum at quarterback. So I put myself in the top tier. You guys have to deal with it because you want on a podcast. Get a platform. Anyways, the next tier, the A tier, I have the L's, Lassie and Logan. Going over why. Logan, I said how he didn't really have any bad performances. And, I'm thinking his team's kind of on the upswing. Because Devontae Adams probably isn't dead.
I don't know about that.
Theoretically. And if Devontae Adams is on his team, then, Devontae Adams, DJ Chark, Allen Robinson, Robbie Anderson, that's a good wide receiver core.
Mm-hmm.
Complement that with Le'Veon Bell, Josh Jacobs, good running backs. Gerald Everett has been up and down as tight end, but he's getting a lot of targets, so that's pretty good for him. I feel like Logan kind of deserves this. Lassie. Oh, wait, do you want to say anything?
I do not, but we'll get to it. I do not agree. I do not, no, not that I don't understand it. I do not agree that he deserves to be there, but we'll get to it.
We can talk about this after you go through yours. I'll just, do this unabridged for now. With Lassie. Lassie, who I'm playing this week, so I really wish she was lower, but I couldn't justify it. Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, very good running back duo. With Melvin Gordon as the third.
Mm-hmm.
He's been definitely underperforming, but he's pretty good running back 3.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, also kind of underperforming, but a wide receiver 1. Julian Edelman, solid wide receiver 2. After that, it kind of looks downhill for Lassie. Doesn't help that, he has 2 empty bench spots, but I feel like he's got a really strong core of his team. Kyler Murray is a good starting quarterback, so I put him there. The next tier, the B tier, we have JP, Dylan, Frankie, and Devin. So these teams are all just kind of meh. JP, if he had Patrick Mahomes, would be higher in the tier, but that and then the David Johnson injury and just not having a lot of health in that kind of area brought him down. Keenan Allen underperforming, and then also his tight ends kind of not doing what you hope they've been doing in these recent weeks. I just couldn't justify putting him higher. Next up, we have... Where did I put him? Dylan. The, aforementioned Dylan that I also said was going to come crashing down to earth, but also scored a lot. Is pretty solid with James Conner and Tevin Coleman. Oh my God, he's starting Olabisi Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
But he has DeAndre Hopkins and Darren Waller. Michael Gallup and Marquise Brown on bye this week. So those will help him in the future. So that's why he's one spot above you, Frank.
I mean, theoretically help him, but they haven't been good in weeks, so.
but injuries.
They haven't been good for a month and a half. Either of them.
Speaking of not being good, Frankie is next.
Yeah, third highest score in the 7th place ranking. Cool. Continue.
Because
Or 8th place ranking. Continue.
earlier we've talked about good running back cores, and now we talk about Devontae Freeman and Phillip Lindsay. And then
Phil Lindsay's great.
um,
They are both fringe running back ones going into this week.
Phillip Lindsay has 2 weeks above 20,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 week above 10.
Yeah.
And then 4 weeks below 10 points.
It happens.
Yeah. Anywho, so those are your running backs, and then your wide receivers. Odell Beckham and Juju Smith-Schuster are very good, except not at fantasy this season. And then Robert Woods, kind of in the same boat, but he's better for fantasy this season. Chase Edmonds,
You just ignored John Brown. John Brown's been a fringe wide receiver 1, and he's a super late round pick. He's one of my best picks.
he is the wide receiver 20.
Yeah, but he's becoming a wide receiver 1, just week to week scoring wise.
He is 1 week above 20, and then his next highest is 16, and then nothing above 11.
Have you seen the Bills' upcoming schedule? He's gonna be amazing.
Sure, you see this quarterback?
Yeah, I've seen his quarterback. His quarterback can throw a dime.
Okay, anyways, so that's where Frankie is. And then following that up, we have Devin, who would probably be higher if he didn't lose Kerryon Johnson, but F. Marlon Mack and Todd Gurley are a good punch 1-2 at running back. And then he's kind of super balanced at wide receiver, no one being super good, but no one being bad with Kenny Golladay, Cortland Sutton, and Alshon Jeffrey. But then after that, it's a little messy there, so that's why he's not any higher. And then the bottom tier, Tyler Walker, Justin Moss, and Greg. Kind of be surprising to hear Justin Moss here, I think, but
Yeah.
Tyler Walker and Greg kind of make sense, because Tyler Walker, we've said, he's got Nick Chubb, he's got Julio Jones, he's got T.Y. Hilton, and that's about it. There's no one else on his team that you really want to be on your team. Tyler Williams was good to start the season, but hasn't, due to injury and pretty much just injury. But all of his weeks earlier had a touchdown, so this probably inflated it a little bit. Devontae Parker is kind of the same thing, where, he's got a touchdown the last 3 weeks, but how much do you really trust that on Miami? Justin, justifying this, he's got Christian McCaffrey, which is good. He's got Austin Hooper, which is good. But then Mark Ingram and Damian Williams are both touchdown-dependent RB2s. Damian Williams is probably more of an RB3. Brandon Cooks and Jarvis Landry haven't been good this season. Jarvis Landry's been okay. Dante Pettis, got a wide receiver traded to be in front of him. And then I don't really, put stock into kicker flex, which is why he's probably lower than he should be. But I choose to do that. Suck it. And then Greg. Sorry, Greg. But, you drafted Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Harder to be good with that. Chris Carson's good, but got a bunch of wide receiver 2s. And no depth.
Yeah.
Power rankings.
Alrighty, now for my rankings here. Top tier, I feel like is super obvious. It's Levi and Jake Logan, for all the reasons you stated earlier. I would not put you in the top tier for a slew of reasons. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to add besides for Levi and Jake. I'm not sure what else there really is to say. I do have Justin in my high tier. Next though, which now that I'm looking at his roster, I'm really analyzing it. I guess because my thought process was he's had 2 so far top scoring weeks of the season. He has another top 6 scoring this week. He's had 1 bad week in the entire season, but other than that, he hasn't scored below 103 points. And he's been doing enough to win every single week, which is I guess what you need. But yeah, I guess I really didn't. I looking at his roster a little bit further, he is a faller candidate for sure. And then in the rest of this tier, I have you, myself, and JP. I think we talked enough about our own teams to know how we kind of feel about here. I need you to actually start scoring points before I can put you into top tier. Yeah, you have the guys to do it, but Lord, I need you to actually start scoring points.
Tyreek Hill was injured.
I need you to actually start scoring points.
Alvin Kamara is injured.
Before I award you a top tier ranking.
I can't do anything with defense and kicker.
Can you? We talked about how much worse my roster is than yours, but I'm 3 spots ahead of you in scoring.
Regression.
Regression. Okay. And then I have JP up here as well, who has a pretty solid roster, but and he's on the lower. He's verging into the mid tier range here, just because of the injuries to DJ and Mahomes, like you said.
Yeah.
Dylan, a pretty big riser here into the mid tier. I can't quite put him at high tier yet, because what was that word you just used? Regression. It's coming. I believe it. And then the rest of my mid tier here. Lastly, Devin, Logan. I guess I have Logan a bit lower than you two. That's the only other big discrepancy, I think.
Why do you think Logan is the third worst team?
Well, I mean, like this. I don't know if I have him as the third worst necessarily. Like he's lower. I guess because like I think with Logan is like he's had 2 weeks where he's been the bottom scorer in a given week, including a week ago. And like when he is like scoring in the top 60, like he's been yet to like show me like a really like super high scoring week that's like, hey, I'm here to play. He's just like barely getting by or barely losing. Like his team doesn't do a whole lot for me. And I think I agree that he has like a lot of good pieces, and like you can make an argument for a lot of the guys doing well in like the upcoming weeks. And the Jets schedule is getting better, so while Justin's a faller candidate, Logan's definitely a riser candidate. But I'm going to actually need to see the Jets offense start clicking before I start awarding, like giving it out to Le'Veon Bell and saying Robbie Anderson is all of a sudden a really good play. Just not quite there yet. In the low tier, Greg and Tyler. I don't know what else here to say. Like, it's just, I think like we said enough over the past like 3 or 4 weeks. I gave a whole rant about Greg today. And Tyler, we said it was 2 weeks ago now that we said he's looking primed for a consolation run, and I think that opinion is maybe not a great consolation run, but a consolation run nonetheless. And I have our comparisons up here from our last rankings. No one moved more than a single tier for mine. Let's look at go over your risers and fallers.
Lassie went from the bottom tier last time to now in tier 2.
Yeah.
Good for you, Lassie. I feel like Saquon coming back definitely helped that out. And then JP went from the first tier down to the third tier. As I said, a lot of that's because of injuries, and then also Keenan Allen underperforming recently has definitely been part of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I could definitely see him hopping back up. He is still top of his division.
Yeah. And let's get into our preview this week. We'll start off here with Dylan versus Logan. Starting off with Dylan's side, James Conner could feast this week against Miami in prime time. So I think it's probably a similar thing that happened that happened with the Bengals the other week. That is very possible for him. DeAndre Hopkins will look to continue to roll versus a very beatable Oakland defense. My only note on Dylan's side for this week, he is starting Ola BC Johnson in Thielen's absent, which is maybe a big brain play as they are going up against Washington. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say on Dylan's side here. On Logan's side, it is finally going to be a great game for Le'Veon Bell. It is against the Jacksonville defense, very beatable. I have a note here written that just says, "Throw this man the damn ball." Just start throwing. It's like, did the Jets not watch, like, did Adam Gase not watch him in Pittsburgh? Like, throw him the ball. He does stuff in space. He's really good. Anyways, impact of the Mahomes injury on Shady is TBD. We'll have to see about that. He's starting Shady as flex. So we'll have to see how that affects Shady and the entire running game there. Although Matt Moore is a capable quarterback. Robbie Anderson should have a good game this week, as we've been saying for a long time. And my only note on your side here, Logan, is the fact that Devontae Adams still not practicing. Missed practice today as well on Thursday. So that's just you and my dynasty team both, man. It's a rough life.
Hard knock life.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, moving on to Devin versus Justin. The first note I have written down here is that Justin's team is garbage.
Garbage?
Yeah, and Matt Lab isn't doing anything to help him.
Okay. Let's calm down here. All right.
I fear no Matt Lab.
Okay, we can talk trash about Justin. Let's not talk trash about Matt Lab. Or we were in a panic room a week ago. Like,
I fear no Matt Lab, Frankie.
Oh my god.
What the fuck did you just fucking say about me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in B102, and I've been involved in millions of secret simulations on fantasy football, and I have over 300 confirmed lines of code. I am trained in linear regression, and I'm the top for looper in the entire US simulation forces. You are nothing to me but just another variable.
Well, that was weird.
I think MATLAB's getting a little out of control.
I think we need to do something about this. This is an actual issue. Did you have anything else to say about Justin's team, or should we just move on, or?
I guess Christian McCaffrey plays San Francisco this week.
Yeah.
Really good D-line. So I kind of feel like he's cooked. Because if you look on the other side, Devin's got a lot of pretty good matchups. You know, Russell Wilson's playing Atlanta. Awful defense. And if Matt Ryan plays, it might actually be a little bit of a shootout. Todd Gurley plays Cincinnati, who cannot physically play defense whatsoever. Kenny Golladay will, hopefully go off against the Giants. And then same with Tim Johnson, Devin. But he's got a couple Eagles playing against Buffalo, which probably won't be great. But I mean, it's better than playing Dante Pettis or Jarvis Landry against New England. So, still feeling pretty good for Devin here.
Alrighty. Let's move on here then to Tyler versus Greg. Tyler's side, he gets Chubb back this week from bye, and he gets to play New England. Congrats.
Exactly what you want.
But I just realized this is a game between our 11th and 12th ranked teams, huh? Or at least pretty down there. That's something. Tyler Williams returns to practice, but even if he plays, he is Mr. Regression candidate because he went 4 for 4 in touchdowns in his first 4 games. So he was relevant earlier, but that is the yardage is not there for his touchdowns. So we'll have to see about that. Ebron sucks, and I'm not bitter that I don't have him on my team this week. Just putting that out there. Also,
wait, this kind of sounds like you are bitter.
I might be a little bitter. Speaking of players who suck, Jimmy G sucks, and please drop him. He's really bad. Thank you, Tyler. Greg's side of the ball. Speaking of quarterbacks who suck, Matt Ryan. Everyone's just getting shots today. Didn't practice today and has no other quarterbacks on his roster. Currently, not a whole lot on the waiver either, so that'll be fun. We'll look for Diggs to keep rolling and for Carson to get back on track this week. And my only note on Gray's side here is that Mixon is barely startable in fantasy at all. He's just still a mainstay in his roster here. Just for comparison here, Cam, would you say that Miles Sanders is a startable running back currently in fantasy?
No.
Would you like to know where his rankings are in PPR?
Sure.
The running back 31. Would you like to know where Mixon is?
I don't now.
35.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That is rough here.
I mean, good thing Greg really went all in on that Cincinnati offense. Anyways, next matchup we have here is Frankie versus Jake Logan. And wouldn't you know it, this is a try-hard chalice match.
I have to work harder. I want to excel. I want to be the greatest, so I'll keep on trying until I've got what it takes to do that!
I'm winning the chalice. That's right. Let's go.
So you guys are both the high scorers of the previous 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're probably the 2 teams most affected by buys this week.
Yeah, I don't have Lamar Jackson. I can't win. This is really unfortunate.
You don't have Lamar Jackson or Mark Andrews. He does not have Zeke Elliott or Amari Cooper. I honestly could not tell you which are more important to their teams based on what kind of backups you guys picked up and stuff. So it'll be pretty interesting. There's not a lot of good matchups for either team here, too. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been hot, but you could just see them running the ball against Washington like they did against Atlanta.
I can't see that.
Sure.
Physically in my heart or in any other metaphysical way could I see that happening and survive this week.
Anyways, at least you'll know early. Devonta Freeman plays Seattle.
This means more time for suffering. It doesn't mean anything.
Devonta Freeman plays Seattle, and Philip Lindsay plays Indianapolis, which are both kind of like meh or not good matchups. Indianapolis has really stepped up on defense this season. But on the other side, Jake has Sony Michel playing Cleveland, who is probably not the best run defense, but Sony Michel's not a good runner, so it doesn't really matter. He's just hoping for touchdowns anyway. Whereas the Jets do have a pretty good run defense, and they're playing against Fournette for Jake. Looking further down, your good matchup is John Brown this week against Philadelphia, but he is Josh Allen. So it kind of cancels itself out there, whereas, I could possibly see Josh Allen. Actually, I don't know if he's going to run against Philadelphia's D-line, so I don't really know what's going to happen there. Really, I don't know what's going to happen with anyone here, because, Corey Davis is playing Tampa Bay. Could be great, or could be Corey Davis, who does nothing.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster is playing Miami. Could be great. Could just not get past you, because they don't have to. Kind of same with Vance McDonald. Chase Edmonds did really good last week. Now he plays New Orleans. So I could easily see either of you as his team scoring between 60 and 130 points, and it would not shock me whatsoever.
I will say about my roster particularly, these start sets are not final by any means. Do not be surprised if both Adrian Peterson makes it into the lineup tonight and Tariq Cohen replaces somebody.
Adrian Peterson coming off like a high ankle sprain, but he's still just gonna play anyway.
Oh, I believe he had a high. Was it him or Matt Ryan who had both a high and a low ankle sprain? I'm very considering playing Peterson tonight, and I'm very considering playing Tariq Cohen, who's been good-ish, kind of flex worthy at least. Yeah.
But Peterson's got revenge game.
So
does Kirk Cousins.
There are so many revenge game narratives for this game. It's
Case Keenum.
It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I honestly have no idea what will happen in this match. It'll be interesting.
I mean, to me, it's also if I lose this match, I think I can. I mean, I think I'm pretty much dead in the water if I lose this match here.
I feel like if JP loses to Levi, which is definitely likely, you're still fine.
In the division race, I guess. And
that's all you need to do.
I'm so far out of maybe I'm not that far out of wild card consideration.
I mean, wild card right now is 4-3.
Yeah, if I lose again, I'm going to be minimum 2 to 3 games behind. We always have the week 13 doubleheader, but I feel very. If I lose this week, I will feel incredibly defeated. I'm more defeated than I ever felt last season. So
I'll be rooting for you, because Jake is a beta.
Yeah. Speaking of betas, I was just kidding. Getting into your matchup here now, Cam versus Lassie. Betas, you're starting backup quarterbacks. That's got to be some kind of low T move. I don't know. Drew Brees. I mean, come on.
Okay. I don't know, really, if I had a good plan going into waivers, but I had a plan. And that was to get Brees, and either he plays, or I put him on IR, and I just get a backup, and then I have Brees for a good rest of the season schedule, which is better than Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. Come on. And then I also...
What do you mean, come on? You're the Wentz truther.
I thought he'd be fine against Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyways, and then I also got Kenny Stills because I think he'll be good. But now I realized, let's say Brees doesn't play. I just throw him on IR. And then I just pick up another quarterback. But then I have to drop someone, and I don't really want to drop anyone to get a defense. So that's not good. So I need Brees to play, and I need someone else to go on IR in order to have a defense. Otherwise, I got to drop somebody.
Yeah. That's been annoying me as well, because Sterling Shepard keeps going on and off IR, so at different points of the week I can or can't move my roster around. It's very frustrating. But more on your side here quickly. Cook could single-handedly take your team to the victory circle here. I'm trying to remember who he's playing. It was good.
Washington.
Playing against obviously he's playing against Washington, so that could be a very, very strong week for him tonight. Actually. You spent a pretty penny on Kenny Stills, but he's not in your starting lineup this week. Curious.
Dude, I have no idea what I'm doing.
And my only other question on your team, which is a big, important philosophical question that I want everyone listening to give their take on. You are going up against Lassie, who is the Aaron Jones owner. You own Jamal Williams. Is it a high team move or a low team move to start him against Aaron Jones? Because you are still starting a backup running back, but it is the backup to Aaron Jones.
Can I just call it stupid? God.
I think it's a pretty high team move personally. I think the style points outweigh add to the low T to make it high T. You know what I mean?
No,
Because
not.
like, it's inherently low T because it's a running back. You know?
It's like 70% of our audience has absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's great. It's most podcasts then. Last two side, Kyler looking to bounce back against a beatable Saints defense here. It's good to have Saquon back on last side here. And my only thing for him, so I feel we've talked a lot about his players, is I'm really interested to see what Emmanuel Sanders does in his first start as the wide receiver 1 for San Francisco, considering that Kittle has been the wide receiver 1 on that team so far this season. Or the whatever, you know what I mean.
Top receiver.
Yeah, top passing option. And that's about it I have on this matchup here.
On to our matchup of the week. These are two teams who are currently top of their division, and it's Levi versus JP. If we look over it, there's bad matchups all around for both teams, but really for Levi, I mean, Derrick Henry versus Tampa Bay, who's been amazing at stopping good running backs. Now all they have to do is stop Derrick Henry. And Michael Thomas will possibly be shadowed by Patrick Peterson now that he's back, which would be pretty bad for Levi. Chris Godwin's playing against Tennessee, who, I mean, shows up as very red on Sleeper, and, you know, they shut down other teams, so maybe they can shut down a God, but probably not. But then again, JP's team has been brutalized by injuries, like we talked about, losing Patrick Mahomes. David Johnson hasn't really been practicing, so we'll see what happens there. And if he does play, he's playing against the Saints, so maybe James White would be better anyway. Who knows? But JP's definitely got to hope that the Chargers can get rolling against that Chicago defense with both Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry, and hope that Austin Eckler doesn't get those targets, because that'll definitely help swing things his way. But he's also got, you know, Tyler Lockett playing against Atlanta, and Larry Fitzgerald playing against New Orleans. I don't know if I'd maybe put in DK Metcalf, because he's also playing against Atlanta, and Atlanta sucks.
Yeah.
But, you know, I trust JP to make some good decisions there. Evan Ingram should, you know, brutalize Detroit, because can't cover tight ends.
So we thought last week for Arizona.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But the biggest mismatch right now, Levi has the Steelers defense going against Miami, whereas the Cowboys JP has the Cowboys defense playing nobody, and has yet to do anything about that. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, I still have JP as my upset of the week.
I'm upset. I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
Say it louder!
I'm upset.
That's a little wild, Cameron. I'm not gonna lie to you on that one. I also just realized that this is a Minka Fitzpatrick revenge game, like inter season revenge game, and he picked up the Steelers defense, and I think we're gonna be seeing something special from him this week. I would not pick Jake to win this matchup personally, but yeah, go off.
I mean, I just think Levi's got, you know, he's been on the downswing. He's got some bad matchups this week. JP's team is going to rally around the injured Mahomes and just think about how they need to step up to help him out.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a feeling.
Alrighty. That's it for our week in preview. Let's get into a mailbag. We have some last second questions here. We have a statement from Logan who writes, I want to be able to flex defense special teams. I gave you kicker flex. Stop. And then he writes, why have I assembled the greatest fantasy team of all time? You have not. Moving on. He writes in, rank all 12 teams in terms of style points. Jake 1. All of us 2 through 12.
Let's see. Any team's got some style. I think Tyler Walker has some style, purely based on his team picture being fat Kylo Ren as Jake Logan. It's pretty stylish.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, it's about it. Not a whole lot of style going on. And then I run here last again from Dylan, who writes in, sometimes we get playoff games during the season. Is Dylan versus Logan a loser leaves town match? Or is it a potential playoff preview? Both teams are on fire. I don't necessarily think it's a loser leaves town match. It might be for Dylan. It might not necessarily for Logan because there's just such a Dylan has no shot winning the division while Logan still does even if he loses. Is a potential playoff preview. I mean, maybe if you win, but even that, your chances of making playoffs are pretty low. Both teams are on fire is the last part of the statement. Logan's team is not on fire. I feel like I was very clear when I said that earlier. If you clearly weren't listening, I was kidding. But Logan's team is not a team I would consider on fire. Yeah, he won this week, but last week he was the week before. I mean, he was the lowest scorer of the week. He's had 2 lowest scorer of the weeks in the last 5 weeks, and only 1 week in the top 6 in the last 5 weeks. So I wouldn't consider him a team that's on fire currently.
Maybe on fire in a bad way.
I don't think that's what he was going for, but yeah.
I think it is a preview for the consolation middle game.
The
That
middle
doesn't matter
game.
whatsoever.
What,
Shooting my shot.
what is that? The 9th place match?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The blue balls matchup.
Uh-huh.
You're not really playing for anything.
Yeah. Alrighty, and that's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Annual Big Campus Football Podcast. I have been Frankie.
Cam over here.
And we'll come at you next week with a look back at this week, a look forward to week 9 of the season. I should have mentioned this earlier. The trade deadline is approaching
No!
furiously.
Oh, God.
And along with that, we need to have a revote on the future of keepers for our league very soon. So look out for some announcements about that in the coming days on the Sleeper Chat.
This is shocking.
This is some shocking news. We're in the thick of it, and we're steamrolling here towards the middle the middle third of the season. That's a weird sentence, but anyways,
We're already in the middle third, aren't we?
yeah, I'm like storming through it, like
Okay.
we're getting through it. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next week.
Have fun.